We're on to rabbits at week 4, ages say 3 to 4 weeks, and what do you need to be doing now? So we've addressed this in some other videos. One of the most important things you need to do now as they get out of the cage, out of the nest box, and start eating, being more independent, is to make sure there's enough feed and water for everybody in the cage. Last week, this cage wasn't using a whole lot of water, but they're starting to really go through it now, telling me that the kits are getting bigger. They need more. They're still probably nursing off mom some, but that will continue to decline. You know, they'll rely more on the feed and water. We're going through a lot of feed and water, not excessive, but, you know, much more feed and water in this cage than we usually do if it's just mom. So we talked in another video about adding some feed dishes. I prefer, as much as I can, using a smaller dish because they're less likely to sit in it, but that's not going to completely stop it until the kits get even bigger. You just need to keep them cleaned, dumped out every morning if there's feces in there and whatnot. Right now in this cage, water's the big thing. So today they're getting another water dish. So, you know, no big deal. It's just a matter of finding a spot for it. Now, these kits are at 4 weeks. I like to keep them at least 5, usually 6, up to 8 weeks with the mother. I don't typically go as long as 8 weeks, and the reason being, you can see that they're getting pretty big here. You know, she's already a good-sized rabbit, and they don't seem to mind being a little bit crowded. You know, it's a mom and her litter situation, so it's different than keeping other large rabbits together. But there are other factors involved, one of them being it gets harder and harder to keep enough feed in the cage and enough water in the cage, and to, you know, all of these dishes take up space in this cage. As you can see, I might add one more feed dish, but I wouldn't want to have to get too many more dishes in that. It just crowds their space even further. So when you get to the point that they're obviously eating and drinking independently, you're feeling good about them, it's time to start weaning. We're not there yet, in my opinion. It can be done at 4 weeks. It's a little bit early. You're risking weaning enteritis more at 4 weeks than you are at 5 or 6. Going to 5 or 6 gives them more time with her cecotropes, to build that probiotic action in their gut, get that going, which is just, it's so important for rabbits to keep them healthy and happy. Doing it this way, I have never lost a single kit to weaning enteritis. So, you know, all good there. If we move over, we can see in Astor's cage, her kits that are a few days younger than them. You know, same thing here. I removed the nest box. They were using it for nothing but a hide and play box. It was just a place that was going to build, you know, even risk becoming a litter box for the kits. So it's better to have them on the wire where the manure and feces and everything can drop down, you know, and them too. We've got a couple of feed dishes in here, a water bowl. I'll be adding a second water bowl to theirs as well. You know, water is honestly, like us, it's the spice of life, right? So it's, in a lot of ways, obviously food is imperative, but in a lot of ways, water and good hydration is even more important. An animal is going to die much faster, you know, in a day without water than they are without feed. And by no means am I saying don't feed and water your animals every day. Obviously, we feed and we water every single day. So this is it. At, you know, by this age, by week 4, there's not a heck of a lot for you to do except just to maintain a good clean cage with plenty of feed and water for everybody. Let them be happy. Let mom continue to do her thing for another couple of weeks until we get them to an even less dependent state on her, where we can start weaning and moving them out, and it's all good. So yeah, that's that on that conversation.